I think that the perspective that I have, that I feel as though that God has given me, is something that is beneficial for people. If I'm completely wrong about that, and I actually don't have anything else to offer the world, and people think I'm absolutely crazy, at least my kids will have a backlog of information. That's why we're messed up. So at least they have that they can show to their future therapists. Welcome to the Dreamers Misfits podcast. My name is Benjamyn Hofer. And if you're listening to episode 1, first off, thank you very much. You are most likely either my wife or my mom. And I appreciate it. If you are listening to this in the future, and it is 2024. And if you are listening to this past that and you have come back to go to my first episode, you're amazing. I appreciate you. There are many, many podcasters out there that I listen to that I have never listened to the first podcast. And I don't think I'm ever going to, because I understand that it takes a long time to get good at your craft. And in order to do that, you need to put in the time and, create the episodes and all these things. And I don't necessarily want to see them in their first episode because I appreciate them so much in their latter. So I don't necessarily want to go back to what their first episode looked like, to be completely honest with you. So if you are in the future and you have decided to go back and to listen to my first podcast, I appreciate you and I thank you. And I do think that there's something to be said about that, because maybe you like to see progress in real, and I think that's important, and I think that's good. So thank you. I want to just start this off by just talking about why am I doing a podcast? It is 2024. It feels like it's so late to start a podcast. I feel like everyone and their mom has a podcast, and that is not who I am. The reason why I've called this the Dreamers and Misfits podcast is because I genuinely believe that I have something to offer to the world that doesn't look and sound like everyone else. I think that the perspective that I have, that I feel as though that God has given me, is something that is beneficial for people. And I think there are other people in my situation that could potentially resonate in it with it. If I'm wrong about that. If I'm completely wrong about that, and I'm completely out to lunch, and I'm completely conceited, and I actually don't have anything else to offer the world, and people think I'm absolutely crazy, at least my kids will have a backlog of information of like, oh, that's why we're messed up, because my dad was like this. That's why I think the way that I do, or have this some sort of trauma or whatever. So at least they have that they can show to their future therapists. So that's cool. That's good on them. But why? Why am I starting this podcast, which feels, like I said, so late? I have tried many, many things in the past, like specifically 4 years. I've tried different things, different types of medium, different types of content. I've tried short form content. I have tried to do some longer form content, more like YouTube stuff. I've worked with many clients on different projects and stuff like that. And the thing that I always seem to come back to is sometimes I have a hard time, specifically in short form content, keeping what it is that I'm trying to do very concise into, speaking in basically sound bites, which is like a very hard thing to do. And people that are able to do it, usually rewarded for it. However, I don't know if you've ever been around somebody who speaks in sound bites in real life. It is uncomfortable because there's no flow to the conversation. And I am very much a person who loves to have conversation, who has, likes the nuances of conversation, and to be able to go down one way or the other, which is a great thing that I believe that is good thing to have, because it enables you to be in this free flow state of being able to, go down one avenue or not, and not necessarily be completely fixed on one direction, which is also probably not the greatest thing at the same time, because I think sometimes when you have goals and you have that free flow state that you're able to tap into to go down left and right, you can often get distracted. And I think probably a lot of creatives struggle with that as well, because you're always trying to make things better. You're always trying to make things look better or feel better or sound better. That's just like what you're always trying to do. But I found as though that this is probably the best means that I can do that, because it enables me to go down different rabbit holes and chat about different things and just have genuine conversation and just talk about things that might all be tied together but are not all at the same time. That I can have conversation about this, and I can have conversation of that, and I can have conversations with other people about different things. That's really the heart of it. But then also, in a world where everything is seemingly very, very quick and replaceable and disposable, I think there's such a value to long form. There's a study, I believe his name is Robin Dunbar, and he has this idea of like different numbers of people that you can have in your life. So it's basically like this circle that goes in kind of like a target. And the outer circle is the amount of like people that you can recognize, and I think it's like 500. And then it goes down, and then it's like 300, and the amount of people that you would like consider like a friend, like someone like from school or something like that. And then like acquaintances, and then like core friends, and then like close friends. And I believe the number of close friends that you're able to have is 5. Which is really interesting, because that's the amount of capacity that the average person has to have a genuine relationship with is 5 people. And I think that's really interesting, because the only factor really to like, if you're in the last circle and you want to come into like the closest circle, the only thing that you can do with somebody is spend more time with them. So time is the only thing that you can actually give to somebody to become a closer friend, or to get into that inner circle, to get to know somebody well. And time is extremely fleeting, and time is like the most valuable resource on the entire earth. So you want to be careful of who you're doing that with. But it's interesting when you bring that concept into like business or into making a larger impact, because the way to do that is content allows people to spend time with you, to have conversations with you, and to get to know you more and more at like such a high level, where people could spend 40 hours with you without even meeting you. And that's why so many creators and so many people in this space are able to have such big followings and have such large impacts, is because other people have a personal connection to them, and they feel as though that they've spent like hours with like a friend hanging out, which like could be uncomfortable if you were to meet somebody who has been like digested all of your content, and they feel like they know you and you have no idea who this person is. But it's like also extremely beneficial if you have a genuine goal that you're trying to achieve. This amount of time in the content that you put out allows people to have better conversations with you, even though you aren't there. You're basically duplicating yourself in the vague sense of the term, that you are duplicating yourself and creating more of yourself accessible to other people, because you're creating content that people can digest at any time throughout like forever. So it's a really interesting idea, because I genuinely believe that I do, like I said at the beginning, that like I do feel like I have something to offer. I feel like that, and maybe I'm naive. Maybe I've listened to one too many Tony Robbins talks, but I actually believe that I do have something that is beneficial to the world. And to have these conversations or a different perspective, I genuinely believe that. So this is kind of the start of that, and how I'm able to, start to create whatever that impact looks like, and start to really pursue the things that I feel as though I've been placed on this earth to fulfill and to help people. So yeah, so that's the beginning of what this is trying to do. It's really trying to make the impact that I feel as though I have in me, because I think there's a responsibility for people that actually believe that they have something. I believe in the Bible there's a story and a parable of the talents, where one person was given 10 talents, one person was given 5 talents, another one was given 1. The person with 5 talents went and doubled it, and then the next person went and doubled it as well, and then the last person who only had 1 talent went and buried it. And when the person who gave the talents to all these people came back, they were like, "Hey, yo, good job for doubling it. Good job for doubling it. Like, you guys are great. You guys took what I gave you and you created fruit from it." And then the person with 1 talent who buried it was condemned. And that's something that resonates so deeply with me. Not even just with money and investing and stuff like that, but it is, if I believe that I have something to offer to the world, it is on me to use what I'm given to multiply and to create the impact that I feel as though I've been called to make. So that's something that runs really, really deep in me, that I feel if I leave this earth and I haven't completed or done justice to what it is that I've been given, I feel though that's it's a slap in the face to the person who gave it to me. So yeah, that's something that runs deep in me, and there's a deep conviction of making sure that I am using what I've been given and not letting it go to waste because of maybe cultural society, or even the idea. For example, I have about a half an hour of me pumping myself up to start to record this podcast. I have about a half an hour of nonsense of me just I hit record, and I sat down and I started talking, and I was very nervous and very scared. And then I just thought about it as at the end, you can see my train of thought in the entire clip where I'm talking, and at the end of it, I'm like, Ben, what the hell? Just do it. You're literally just talking to a camera. There's nobody else in this room. There are 2 cameras. There was 1 camera in front of me. There was 1 camera here. And there's nobody else in the room. Who are you scared of? What you're scared of right now and what you're nervous about, is so stupid. It's so dumb. To think that people actually are gonna sit there and just make fun of me, and the people that get hate are people who are people who get a crazy amount of hate with comments and stuff like that. They're often the people who have large followings, and when you have a large following, of course you're gonna get hate. Not everybody is gonna like everything you say. When you have 2 million plus followers, of course that's gonna happen. So I'm just sitting there, I'm just what are you scared about? What are you actually nervous about? There's nothing. Just do it. Just do the thing that you feel you need to do. Just do the thing. Just whatever it is, just do the thing. Just do it. It's freaking Nike it. Just do it. It feels so elementary and honestly stupid, even just trying to say that out loud, because it's it just seems so Like, I'm 28 years old. Like, figure it out. Like, you just like, what are you scared of? It just feels so dumb. But the thing is like, yeah, like, if this is hard, if this is the hard thing, and like Alex Hormozy talks about this. He has a story where he was in a fraternity, and basically he was like the head of the fraternity, and all these guys were like, oh, this is like so hard. Like, I didn't expect this. I thought we were going to be partying. I thought we were going to be all these things. And like, these guys were like pledges. So, I mean, I don't fully understand how a fraternity works because I was never been in one. Plus, I live in Canada. We don't have fraternities. So all these guys were like, oh, I thought we were going to be partying all the time. I thought we were doing all this. And then like Alex is like, yeah, but like, you guys are pledges. Like, you guys knew that this was going to be hard, right? And like, yeah, we knew. And he's like, well, this is what hard feels like. So now that you know that this is what hard feels like, then like, just power through, because it's not going to get worse than this. You knew it was going to be hard, and this is what hard feels like. And that when he shared that story, I don't know how long ago, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like, when you understand what hard feels like, you're like, oh, that actually wasn't that bad. So if me getting in front of a camera and just chatting some more about some ideas that I have or things that I'm thinking about, if that's what hard feels like, that's worth it. Like, for the impact that I want to make, this is worth it. Sitting down in front of a camera for a few hours, that's worth it. Like, 100% that's worth it. If somebody came to you and was like, hey, in order for you to have the impact that you want, in order for you to make the money that you want, in order for you to do, all you have to do is give a few hours a week of your time. Is that worth it for you? Of course that's worth it. You're going to trade that every single time, but it's about actually just doing the thing. Just sitting down and pressing record. Just sitting down, sending the email, doing like whatever it is, just do the thing. That's what is important. It's just to do the thing that you need to do. Just do it. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's potential is what it is. Like, potential is, I think, a thing that is extremely terrifying. And one of my friends talked about this, and I don't even know if he knew what he said when he said it, but he said that potential is one of the scariest things to ever talk to somebody, or to tell somebody that they have. And in my head, when I first heard that, I was like, what do you mean? Like, potential? I was like, that, what a great thing to be a part of. Like, what a great thing to be like, hey man, you have so much potential. Like, that is so exciting. But he's like, no, he's like, potential is the scariest thing that you can ever tell somebody that they have, because the opposite of potential is them merely just not living up to it and things going to waste. And that's terrifying. That is absolutely terrifying. Growing up, and even still to this day, like, I'm someone who is a follower of Jesus, and I have always said that my biggest fear is not living out the call I feel as though God has placed in my life, and not living up to the call. And basically what that just means is just like not living up to my potential. That has always been the scariest thing, where it's like, if you don't sit down and press record, if you don't do the talk, if you don't, take the risks and do those things because of stupid things, like, I just don't want to sit, like, I'm doing this for my 80-year-old self, that he's, sitting on a porch with his wife and happy that he made the decisions that he did. Like, this is for the future self. Like, I want to work for him because he's worth it. Like, he deserves it. And I think that's worth it. Like, I really think that's worth it. And I really want to ensure that my 8-year-old self really has a sense of accomplishment, that he did great things. And for me, what great things are is I do want to reach a lot of people. Like, I'm not going to, I'm not going to hide behind, oh, I don't want followers. And no, like, I want to make an impact. Like, I want to reach as many people as I possibly can. And I want to impact people as much as I possibly can. That is a legitimate goal of mine. I do want to have financial freedom. Like, the idea of not being able to look at my bank account to see if bills are paid, to see if we can go out for dinner, to see if we can get that extra thing, go on vacation. That is something that I want. If it's selfish, I honestly don't care, because that freedom to be able to love on people, to be able to pay for people's meals, to go out and with the guys or with friends and family, and just to take the tab and relieve people of that. That's the type of person that I want to be, and that's, in order to do that, you need financial freedom. Someone once said that financial freedom is being able to go to a restaurant and order whatever you want on a menu. And I think that is a beautiful way to describe what financial freedom is, because honestly, it's like weird to me, and it's sad to me that like financial freedom is even a term, because so many people are in a hole financially, because and can't do the things that they feel as though they are put on this earth to do, because they don't have the means to do it, because they have to grind every day to do the job and doing a job that they hate just to pay the bills. And it's a system you can get just destroyed by very, very quickly, absolutely destroyed by. And I just don't want that for myself. And I think financial freedom is one of those keys. And then the other thing that there's a part of me that like talks about like my older self, and I want to make sure that my older self is genuinely feels accomplished with what he has done in his life, that he has loved on people, he has made a big impact. His family, he's in love with his wife more than ever, and his kids love him and want to hang around him. Those are gigantic things for me. But then also there's something about my younger self that I want to do this for. There's a younger version of me that I really, really needed someone to look back and to reach back and be like, hey, here's a hand. Here's how to do this. Here's the things that you need to do when you don't feel like you fit in. Here are the things that you should work on, or the things that, you need to really hone in on. I wish I had someone in my life to call out those things when I was younger. Because the past 4 years for me have been a whirlwind of trying to figure out myself, trying to figure out our family. It's been an amazing 4 years, but it's also been a absolutely chaotic 4 years mentally. It's just been a wild ride that I never thought I would be on. And I wish I had someone before me warn me about some of these things, or just call out certain things in my life that if I had have known, I would be further along. I just want to, if there's one person out there that is like me and just needed that, that's who I want to create this kind of stuff for. If I can help anybody along the way in their journey of figuring out exactly what they're trying to do, or what they're trying to become, or what they're trying to create, those are the type of things that I want to do. Yeah, those are the things that I want to do. I want to ensure that if there is anyone who was in a similar situation that I was, in terms of just being a kid that like thought and think differently than the people around me, it seemed like, even from a young age, I felt like I was like, I don't know, I felt different. And I feel like that's like such a weird thing, because I feel like I've heard that so much. Which maybe that's why, like, I'm like, okay, if everybody's thinking this way, like, but we're all just talking to ourselves about it, why don't we all just talk about it? Like, why don't we all just, like, come together and be like, hey, like, you feel different? Like, you feel like you think differently than people, or like you value it. Like, why are we all having these conversations in private and not having these conversations in public? And those are the types of conversations that I want to have with people, because I just like genuinely think like humanity is better when we work together. And I think human potential is something that is like so cool. Like people have so much potential. What people can do is like wild if they just put their mind to it. Like, it's like unconceivable. Like, some of the things, like, for instance, running is something that I have recently taken up with a friend of mine. And him and I, when we started, like, we suck. we just run. We don't understand anything about zoning, or I'm not even gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into that. But like, we didn't understand anything like that. However, they watching some of the other people that I'm learning from, I like legitimately do not understand how fast they are able to run. I just a few months ago, I was like, okay, this guy ran a marathon this fast. I was like, okay, what does it even look like to run that fast? And I legitimately sprinting, and I couldn't even run that fast. Like, I couldn't even get up to that speed, let alone this guy's running it at 26 miles or 42 kilometers. Like, that's crazy. It's just crazy. But like, human potential, like, not just physical, but human potential, like, in their mind, is just so crazy. And like, there is so much there. And I think environment is huge. I think like opportunity is huge. So if I'm able to create a space or a place where anyone is able to see their own human potential, or just at least resonate with somebody who feels as though they had a similar journey as them, or had the same feelings as them, or thoughts, like, that's the goal. God, that's the goal, is just to really help those types of people. Yeah, like, that's it. Like, I see human potential as something that is so untapped and so underutilized by so many people. And unfortunately, a lot of it is tied to finances, in terms of like their inability to do it is because of their lack of resources. And I get it. I get it. Like, I have a daughter, and I have another kid on the way, and that looming financial responsibility is real. It is very real. And it is something that you think about all the time. And, sometimes you have to take jobs that you don't want to take. Or you have to do things that you don't want to, or you have to say no to things that you don't want to because of financial reasons, which sucks. Like, if it sucks, it's just a broken way to do life. So I want to, if I can create an opportunity or the drive in somebody to help overcome those things, that's it. Like, that's a win. That is a huge win in what it is that it's doing. But that's that's kind of the goal. The reason why it's called Dreamers and Misfits is because a lot of it is based off of Steve Jobs' "Here's to the Crazy Ones" speech. Steve Jobs, when he created that campaign for Apple, is "Here's to the Crazy Ones." If you haven't heard it, stop and go listen to it right now. Specifically listen to the one that Steve Jobs narrated. Because I think that is better than the actual campaign that was released. And it's basically, there's this speech where it talks about, here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the dreamers, the square pegs and round holes. That's right. And it just basically talks about these people, like there are so many people out there. Like, these are the people who make history. These are the people who stood up when things, not just like for injustice, but like often stood up for injustice, for things where they're like, no, this is not okay, and we need to do better. And or looked at things and wanted to change things, like when Steve was like, looked at the computer industry and was like, okay, why can't we have personal computers, and completely revolutionize the way that we experience and interact with computers. It's just like a human did that, like a team of humans did that. Like, that's so wild to me. So like, let's foster a culture of dreamers and misfits, encouraging people to question the status quo and to do it respectfully, but then also do it in a way that like shakes up the way that we do and live life. Like, let's do it. Like, why not? We have one chance at this, whether you are a believer of a religion or a faith or whatnot. At the end of the day, all of us believe that there is a death, and when you die, we only have one chance at this earth and in this life. Like, let's just do it. Let's just go for it, because it is too short to be living a life that is for other people, that is following rules that nobody actually knows why they exist, to uphold tradition in which, again, nobody actually knows why we do what we do, or it may be rooted in something that is actually wrong, which is hilarious. Yeah, like, let's just do it. Like, I just want to be better. I just want to be better. I just want to like have fun with people. I want to hang out. I want to dream. I want to do things that are cool, and I want to do it. Like, let's just do it. And at the end of the day, there's nothing to it but to do it. Let's just do it. But how did I get here? It's crazy because I never in a million years would have bet on this is the life that I would be leading, in terms of being away from the profession that I was pursuing, being away from even like the home that I'm in. Like, there's just so many things that I wouldn't have ever put on me, and this is where I'd be in life, which is exciting. And I love it. That makes me like so happy that this is actually what it looks like. That's exciting. It's the best thing ever. But basically, why I'm here today and recording these things is, when I was a kid, how it all kind of like panned out. And the other thing too, before I start that, is I think the reason why I am in this situation that I'm in, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the uncertainty. I'm okay with the things that things are going to work out. The reason why I'm actually so optimistic, why I actually truly believe that things are going to work out and things are going to pan out in my favor, is actually because I've already seen it happen in my life. And the reason why I say that is because when I was young, my parents got divorced when I was 8. And I mean, as an 8-year-old, when your parents get divorced, like, the world has collapsed. Not only like has your ideal of what family looks like collapsed, but like there are other like major things that have happened. Like, me and my middle brother, we lived with my mom, and my oldest brother lived with my dad. So like, though I have 2 brothers, one of them I really didn't grow up with, and we have a very interesting dynamic just due to that. Like, I don't fault anyone for it, but it's just a different dynamic, which is interesting. But at 8, when all of that blows up, you're trying to like understand what exactly is happening. Also, in the wake of all of this, my grandpa and my grandma passed away. So like the first ever experience of death. And then also with death, like my parents getting divorced at 8 years old. I was like, okay, like it's all crumbling and crashing down. But there's also a level of like naivete, being naive, that I think like plays in that, which I think is a really good thing. It's probably like some sort of survival thing that we have baked into our DNA, I'm sure. Because I didn't fully understand it, and it only has been over the past few years really that I've been able to reflect and be like, oh, I understand that. But the path, like that path, though it felt like it was like broken, like brought my mom to my stepdad, and then my stepdad actually ended up bringing us to church, and we started going to a church, and that's where I decided at a really young age that I was going to be a pastor. And a lot of it actually is very similar to the things that I was talking about today. Is like I saw something that was like really, really good, and I was obviously in a very broken state at 8 years old, and the promises of God and Jesus and Christianity and what that brought, I was like, oh, this is amazing. Like, why doesn't everybody do this? So I instantly was like, okay, like if this is so good and I can help other people, why wouldn't I want to be a pastor? Like that's just a no-brainer to me. And that's honestly where it was. That's where my heart was when I was 8. I was like, I want to help other people who have gone through certain things. If like Jesus is what it is, I feel like the hope of and light of the world, why wouldn't I want to do that as well and do it as well as I possibly can and be the best pastor that I can and reach as many people as I can. And that, like, at like 8, I was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, this is what I want to do. This is amazing. So like, that's what I set out to do. But like, also, like, I met my wife at church. Like, we met when we were 12 and 13. And that, like, if my parents didn't get divorced, I never met my wife. I would never have my daughter. Like, I would never have my, the life that I had would look so different. All because my parents got divorced. So this feeling of, I know it's all going to be okay. I know that it's all going to work out is something that I've seen happen already in my life, because I have a beautiful wife and a beautiful daughter, and I have another one on the way, and I couldn't be happier of the family that we've built and are continuing to build, which is like the best thing ever. And it's all because of a crappy outcome, which is great. Like that's like such a beautiful thing, that out of like the ashes of my parents getting divorced, like was formed this like beautiful, beautiful family, that I have now. And yeah, so like that is amazing. But like in that, like it's funny because in that same thing, I had the path of being a pastor. And then when 2020 happened, me and a team, we left the church that we were pastoring at just because we saw some things that we didn't agree with and some systems. That is a whole nother episode that I'm going to break down, and why I left being a pastor. But there was, and I was like, I'm going to be a pastor for the rest of my life. I knew it. I went to Bible college. Everything that I did, like kids were playing hockey and practicing things, and I was legitimately writing sermons as an 8, 10, 12, 15-year-old. Like I have journals and journals of sermons that I've written, because I'm like, how can I communicate the best way possible of who it is that Jesus is and how he can change people's lives? That was my goal. That was everything that I wanted to do when I was a kid. So like me now at 28 being like, I'm no longer a pastor and have no desire to pastor at a institutional church again is like an insane thought to me, that would ever be an option for me or ever not be an option for me. But I'm so grateful that I am where I am, because leaving that, because I went to Bible college, I did all that I was like interning under an amazing team to this day. I think some of the best leaders in our country, And like I'm so pumped. Like my wife and I moved out here for this like opportunity, because it wasn't the fact that it was a good opportunity. It was something that there was a vision that we were excited about and we wanted to be a part of. It was something that was bigger than ourselves, that we were like, yeah, I'm sold out for something that is bigger than me. And like pay and all those things didn't matter, because there was a vision that I was excited to be a part of, to execute. And when all of that, when we decided to leave, it was crazy, because I was less than 6 months out of Bible college, and I left the church, and I was like, okay, I am not going to pastor in a church again. I just spent my entire life preparing for the moment for this moment of pastoring, for this job, and it is now blown up, and I don't know what the next step is. I just brought my wife out here, and we literally moved across the country, and 6 months into it, it all blew up. But it blew up not because I was fired. Well, questionable. No, I wasn't fired, but I left willingly and not welcomed back. And it was a very, very thoughtful exit and a very thoughtful leave. Like, there are some people to this day that are like, oh, like, do you ever regret it? And I was like, no, like, I have so much peace with it. And the longer and longer it goes, the more and more peace that I have with it. And people are like, oh, would you change anything? And honestly, I wouldn't have changed anything. If anything, I probably would have went a little bit louder. I'm okay with that. I am very, very much okay with that. So I think that's what gives me the confidence that everything is actually going to work out, that everything is going to be okay, is because in bad outcomes or things that look tough, often some of the greatest things come out of. And I'm okay. I'm okay with that. I'm really, really okay with that, because now, and it's the same thing, right? Like my wife and I moved across the country because we were like, okay, us not being around family is something that we're willing to do because we want to be a part of something that is bigger than ourselves. And that thing that is bigger than ourselves, if the cost is being away from our family, it's worth it. And that was it. And then the same evaluation happened when we left the church. We sat down and I was like, am I able to leave, like, is leaving the church, if I want to pursue the things that I want to pursue and the dreams that I feel as though God has called me to do, is leaving the church worth it? And the answer was yes, because I wanted to pursue something that is bigger than what I felt as though is a job at the end of the day. Is leaving this job, is that cost worth it? Giving up the dreams that I had as a 10-year-old, is it worth it? Can I pursue them in a different way that might not be the same, but it might look a little bit different? Is that worth it? And the answer was yes. 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 The answer was yes. That is worth it. And that's it. Like, that's the whole goal of all of this, is like doing hard things for something that is bigger than yourself. Is it worth it? Yes, 100%. If me getting behind a camera and chatting about some things that I'm thinking about some of the hard times that I've had, is that uncomfortability worth somebody potentially being freed of a hard time, or just understanding that they've been heard? 100% that's worth it. And it will be worth it every single time. I don't know what this next little bit is going to look like. I am someone who really truly believes in human connection and really truly believes in authentic relationships with people. I also am very, very big on human potential. I think that humans are capable of so much more than what they actually think that they're capable of. But I am so tired of all of the polished content that is in the world right now. And I think that the world is craving for more authentic people. And that is my goal, is to be an authentic dreamer or misfit, and to be that person authentically raw and unapologetically myself, so that other people who feel as though they might have the same feelings as I do have someone who they can look up to, who's someone they can journey along with, and someone to maybe do it publicly so they don't have to. That's the goal. That's the goal for all of this. So yeah, that's it. If you are excited about something like this, if this conversation gets you excited, or potentially is something that you resonate with, a follow, a subscribe, an email, subscription, like whatever fancies your boat, that is much appreciated, because obviously the more people that follow, the more people that listen, the more impact that we're able to have. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know what this is going to look like, but I do know that I'm going to be myself. I do know that I'm going to be unapologetically me, and I'm going to keep doing that for me, my family, and for the people that feel as though that they might be on the margins, people that might be a dreamer, a misfit, someone who's trying to chase dreams so vast that the world is going to notice.